Field of 68 After Dark. Welcome in, everybody, to a Sunday, December 21st edition of Field of 68 After Dark. Look, it is Sunday. We had a lot of college basketball going on, very busy day, although I don't think any finishes on the day were anywhere close to as controversial as the one in Lions and Steelers. I don't know. Did you guys catch the end of that, Matt? I know you were in studio, but my goodness.
So, yeah, I'm in studio for NBC. So we got Football Night in America, like 2 doors down. I'm with my man Ahmed Fareed, who's a Michigan guy. I was with Donnie Marshall, who's born in Detroit, but I was trying to figure out Donnie Marshall's teams. He's like a Tigers fan, but he's a Seahawks fan. And he was like, I'm like, but you don't root for the Lions, Donnie. Like, what I don't really understand. But my man Ahmed Fareed was fired up. We didn't have sound because obviously we were there to do a job and we're watching the Oregon Gonzaga game, so we can't hear what's. But they're over there like talking about what in the world happened at the end of that football game. And then the referees were like, "Did you see it? Did you see it? Did you see it? Did you see it?
Yeah.
Did you see it? Did you see
Yes.
it?" What are we doing? Back to hoops.
Nobody knew.
Back to hoops.
Nobody knew. That was not a great ending. So my point is we didn't have any confusion on the day in college basketball. Thanks for hanging out with us here on a Sunday edition of the show. I am John Martin, joined tonight by the coach, Matt McCall, as well as former North Carolina great Justin Jackson, who, if I'm not mistaken, did my eyes deceive me? Or did I catch you at the CBS Sports Classic there in Atlanta yesterday? You got a shot. You got some airtime, Justin.
He was on there.
Hey, I had to slide down there. It's a short little drive. Go see the boys, see some good hoops. So yeah, I was in there. I was in the building.
Yeah, it was a great event. Obviously, a great win for your guys, which we will get to today on the show. Talk all about yesterday's action. Obviously, Texas Tech beating Duke in a crazy come-from-behind victory that certainly did not feel possible. They're late in the game. So we'll get into all that. Recap yesterday's action, but there were some interesting games today. And let's start with one that just went off, which was Gonzaga over Oregon, 91-82. Braden Smith goes for 21. Graham Ike goes for 17 and 11. Braden Huff with 20 there. Matt, you know that Dana Altman and that Oregon team are going to meet the moment, even though they're having a down year. They've been battling through some injuries. So you kind of know what you're in for, but it was just another juggernaut performance by this Gonzaga team, putting up 91 in this one.
Yeah, I mean, let's start with the Zags for sure, because I would like to touch on Oregon because they've looked better. They've looked better coming out of that 5-game losing streak. But when you're bringing guys off the bench like Braden Smith and Tyon Grant-Foster, like they elevate their team almost. There's no drop off, and Grant Foster is such a talent. He takes difficult shots, but he makes difficult shots. But Braden Smith, we need to start separating these two guys because he played like the Braden Smith from Purdue. The floor game that he played to go out there, 7 assists in that level of the game, 7 assists, 1 turnover. They're putting him in pick and rolls. He's making the right play. He's reading the tag. He's setting his teammates up. This is the guy that doesn't start. And Huff was terrific. I didn't even think Graham Ike played that great today. I know his numbers were pretty good. I thought it was not one of his better performances that he's had on the season. But I do think we need to start. We talk so much about, okay, who's in the conversation to win a national championship? We're going to put Arizona in there. We're going to put Michigan in there. We're going to put UConn in there. Purdue had a hiccup against Iowa State. Let's put Iowa State in there. Let's put Purdue in there. Well, this Gonzaga team needs to be in there as well. Because getting punched in the mouth by Michigan in Las Vegas has been the best thing for this team, and they proved it again tonight going out and scoring 91 against Oregon.
Yeah, Justin, this Gonzaga team, obviously he mentioned the destruction there by Michigan, but outside of that, you look at what they've done. They blow out Creighton. They beat Oklahoma by 15. They beat Alabama by double digits. They beat Maryland by nearly 40. They beat Kentucky by 35. They beat UCLA by double digits. Obviously, tonight was a 9-point win. They're destroying people in their own right here.
Yeah, I mean it's I think we've talked about it before, but I think that Michigan game, albeit, it was a bad, bad game overall. That's not the matchup that Gonzaga wants, right? Like, I think this Gonzaga team, I think they are, when it comes to the tournament, I think they will be not dependent, but I think matchups are going to be a big thing for this team as opposed to some of those other teams that we've talked about. But at the same time, when you've got two bigs in college basketball in Huff and EK, and like Coach said, like the EK didn't even play great, right? When you have two bigs like that, and you've got contribution, like Braden Smith came off the bench, but the whole game, I just looked at him as the lead guard. Like in my mind, he was the starter. He was their number one guard out there on the floor the whole game. So when you've got guys like that, you've got 20 assists to 5 turnovers. Like, it's going to be hard to beat a team like that has the size, the shooting, the shot making capabilities. I still have a few question marks around kind of quote unquote the others when it comes to this Gonzaga team. But heck, in college basketball, having bigs like that, it's gonna be a tough matchup every time you go against those guys.
Matt, the only issue here is, and this is just the world that Gonzaga has lived in for its entire existence, is now they kind of fade into obscurity when they enter conference play. Now that's going to change, right, when they go to the Pac-12, but it's almost like we won't really see them again. And I mean, the diehards will, and the fans obviously will, but I mean, they're mostly going to be playing teams, in the hundreds and worse over at Ken Palm. So, how do you sort of psychologically handle that, right? When they are super tested in the non-conference, and now you're going to have to go 3 months here. There's, you have the St. Mary's games, you have the Santa Clara games. I'm not trying to say that everybody in the conference is a bum, but those are few and far between. So psychologically, how do you shift from every game basically is going to be a game against a top 50 team to, more top 100s than not?
Well, there's no one better at doing it than this guy, Mark Few. I mean, there is nobody better. Last year was the first season that they haven't made the second weekend of the NCAA tournament in like forever. When you really think about it, he'll just continue to talk. That's the thing with Mark Few, and he's the same way on the sidelines, his mannerisms and everything. They're not going to get too high. They're not going to get too low. They're going to just continue to. I know it sounds cliche, and I try not to anymore talk coach speak. Like I really, really try hard, John Martin. I try really hard not to sound like coach.
No,
speak.
I think
like,
you've come a long way. I really do.
When I hear coaches speak coach speak, it drives me absolutely insane. Can you just sound like a normal human being, please? We don't need coach speak. But they'll stay focused on the process. Like, they'll get better. It's what they're going to do. And there's nobody, you said it, like he's been dealing with this since he's been the coach at Gonzaga. And that's why their non-con schedule, he loads it up the way that they do, right?
Yep.
You're going to play Alabama. They're going to play UCLA, who I still think is in the top tier in the Big Ten. They're going to play Kentucky, and albeit Kentucky didn't have their full roster, but they still played them. They took care of business. So, they're going to play Michigan. I mean, they'll be fine once they get to the NCAA tournament because there's nobody better at handling, this conference better than him.
I do want to touch on Oregon, Justin. I don't know how much of them you've been able to see. I know Biddle's been in and out of the lineup. It's kind of an opposite of last year. They come out of the players era. They won the players era last year, get off to a super hot start, and once again, in Big Ten play last year, they kind of just faded down the stretch ultimately. They're sitting here at 6-6. They did go through that 5-game losing streak, but maybe you can make the case that Biddle's back. Obviously Shellstad's there. Do you think this is something that gets better over the course of the season this year, or do you think it's just going to be tough sledding for the Ducks the entire year?
No, I think, and shout out to you, Matt, on the studio work. But y'all had hit it kind of on the head. Like, you go on a 5-game losing streak, and in my mind, Oregon played well tonight against Gonzaga. Like, they were just outmatched. And so I look at this Oregon team. You've got a guy like Biddle. As he gets, obviously he's coming back from the injury, but as he gets more and more, completely comfortable, back into full game shape, they've got pieces around him. You mentioned Shellstad. I like Simpkins. They've got pieces around Biddle to get better as the season goes on. Obviously, a 5-game losing streak, like that's a tough thing to come out of, and now a 6-game losing streak. But I thought they played well tonight. I mean, it's just sometimes you just the other team's better, you know. So as conference play starts, I think Oregon, I think we'll start to see them start putting more wins in that column. Because I mean, I think they've got pieces to be able to stack some.
Yeah, obviously that would be the hope, and they'll have lots of opportunities. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, here's the problem right now with Oregon. And Biddle, I think this was the first game all season where he actually played over 30 minutes. He has to be on the floor. I know he was on a minutes restriction because of his injury, and I get that. He can't be out there for 27 minutes. He can't be out there for 24 minutes. He played 37 tonight. Like, he's got to be on the floor. But everybody is wanting more out of Jackson Shelstad. They want him to be the leader. They're going to put the ball in his hands, which if that's the guy and he's got to be the guy, great. Then Coach Dana Altman, who's won a heck of a lot more games than I have, and I'm sure he knows this, you got to challenge that guy. Because even late in the game wasn't over. It was a 9-point game, and Shelstad's just kind of trotting the ball up the floor. Like, hey man, we got to go. Like we got to set a hammer screen. We got to do something. Put pressure on the paint. Maybe he's just very lackadaisical. It's like, listen, he is a good player. So I'm not saying he is not a good basketball player. He proved it last year in the Big Ten too. But it's like, man, there needs to be more urgency from that guy. I do think Oregon can turn this thing around. They've played better basketball as of late. They went toe-to-toe with one of the best teams in the country. It was a back-and-forth affair. But, man, urgency out of Shelstad can change their team, because I'm with Justin in terms of there's some other good pieces out. But it's a 9-point game, and he's just trotting the ball up the floor. Like, yo, man, like, we got to go.
Right. Yeah. For him to have been there as long as he has, and I'm not trying to pick on him, I just feel like there should be more from a team standpoint, right? If you told me Shelstad was going to be there for as long as he's been there, I just feel like maybe some things are being left on the table. But again, they're getting into Big Ten play here, and there will be opportunities to pick up quality wins. Okay, let's whip around to the Lawrence Joel Veterans Memorial Coliseum. That's Winston-Salem, North Carolina. It was a noon tip. Fellas. Vandy going into Wake Forest as 6-point favorites. However, no Frankie Collins in this one, who closed the game against Memphis. Was very important in that win there late against Memphis and did not make the trip to Winston-Salem. It did matter. Basketball is a very easy sport when you don't miss. That's what I learned watching this Vandy team today, because this nickel kid started 4-4 from 3, and I don't want to say it was over, but, dog, it was over. I mean, that start that he was on really helped propel the Commodores in this one. They remain undefeated, 98-67 the final, just too much firepower. Matt, Vandy is a modern offense, and it's tough to stop. When they make those shots, they did today. They didn't against Memphis, but they did today. I mean, it's going to be tough for anybody to stop that offense.
Yeah, after like the 7th one went in, I think Wake Forest just went ahead and went on Christmas break. It was just kind of like, let's just, where the milk, where the cookies, can we get out of here, please, and hit reset and come back focused for ACC play. But Mark Byington, man, the guy's a ball coach. I mean, he is a ball coach, and I love the floor spacing that they play with. To go on the road and make 16 threes, albeit Tyler Nickel made 8 of them. I mean, Justin, to get off 10 threes in a game, I mean, you were a really good shooter. Still, I shouldn't say were. You probably still are. But 10 threes, he goes 8 for 10? You ever get off 10 in a game, Justin?
I'm sure I did.
Okay.
But I think that's kind of what, to your point, like, heck, I watched Wake Forest come out of the first half and come into the second half, and I think the first 4 possessions, it was like 2 like lazy turnovers. It was like the way they came out, it was like, okay, this game's just gonna blow up even more. But heck, I mean, Vanderbilt, like the things they run offensively, to your point, like the spacing they run, the drive kick action, like you can tell that he teaches like the details of the drive kick. Like it's easy to say, hey, I just want drive kick offense, but like to have guys doing slideaways, to have guys doing flares and all sorts of things within that type of action. It's hard to guard, especially in
Mm-hmm.
college basketball, and especially with a team that obviously didn't feel like being there. Um, but I think with Vandy, I was more impressed defensively, to be honest. Like offensively, like we've seen the numbers, like they put up points. But defensively, like Wake Forest couldn't really do anything. Like they were up against the shot clock almost every possession. It felt like. I think the only question mark for me, and I'm gonna stand on it, is Vandy's size. I think
Yep.
eventually, all this offense, you're gonna have to have something inside. And I don't necessarily know if they have that. But heck, the way they played today, I mean, it's hard for me not to say that they're one of the more confident teams going into SEC play that I've seen. So yeah, I think it was just a obliteration of really good offense versus a team that was ready to go ahead and pack it up.
That's a great point, Justin, too, just in terms of like, because a lot of people right now are going to say this about Vandy. They're going to say they haven't played anybody. They're going to say that their schedule is not what Alabama's is, or Florida's is, or Kentucky's is, or Tennessee's is. They haven't played, enough quad ones. They haven't played the big boys enough, and they're going to get into SEC play. But guess what? They've won every single game that they've played. And that's going to give them confidence when they got to roll into Thompson Bowling Arena. Like, that's going to give them confidence when they have to go play Bud Walton and John Calipari. Like that, there's a swagger about this team right now. Like they know they're good, they believe they're good, and they went in there and showed it on the road today.
That's the second straight game they've done it on the road too now. Beating Memphis on Wednesday. Then you go to Wake Forest. Justin, I'm going to ask you this because I know you played in the league too. I watched that Vandy team personally. I went down to the forum because I wanted to get an up close and personal look at this juggernaut offensively. And they generated good looks like you would expect, but they just couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. And then I watched them today, and it was like, this is not the same team. So is that an NBA arena thing? Like, do you think that college teams come into NBA, and there's not a ton, but do you think that some teams come into NBA arenas and the depth perception is a little off and it's just different for them and they can't shoot it as well?
Yeah, I mean, it takes time at every single level you go up to. Like everything looks different. I mean, heck, Vandy's gym at the same time is, I mean, that's an odd
It's weird
gym
too.
they play in. So it's not.
Yeah.
But I think that comes with teams that shoot the ball from three a lot, right? Like you see it with Alabama. Like Alabama, they've been such a good offensive team when they're making shots. When they're not making shots because they shoot so many threes, then it's like, okay, well, I don't know what this team is. But with Vandy, like they run such good offense, and heck, Duke Miles runs that offense so well that yeah, there's going to be games like against Memphis where they miss shots, but they're going to get good looks almost every offensive possession. So there's a difference between just chucking threes and missing them and getting great looks. Like you said, they generated a ton against Memphis. They just didn't fall. So, but yeah, it is different. Like in an NBA arena compared to most college arenas, and it takes some time to get used to.
How about Matt? I want to go to you on this one. Tyler Tanner. He didn't have the biggest game today in terms of production, but like when I watch him as a sophomore point guard, I'm like that kid is a leader. That kid is a complete floor general and looks like the type of guy you need to make a deep run.
So, John, I'm going to say this. I don't really understand the question in terms of, you said he didn't have a great game today in terms of production. What is exactly? So you are. I get it. If we're gonna put the ball in your hands, you're not passing. You're not passing, and you're not playing any defense.
Right.
Okay. Because the guy had 7 assists, 1 turnover, and 5 steals. So what is
fair enough.
with 11 points?
Fair point.
What is your?
It was highly active.
Production.
I mean, I'm asking the question to glaze him. So I mean, ultimately, my intentions were good.
Okay, yeah. So when you were playing, not going to play D and definitely not passing. Okay, more of just a catch and shoot guy. Okay.
I do enjoy a no look if it's there, but it's got to be flashy. It can't just be the standard. You know what I mean? Bounce pass.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen, man. He you said it. He's what they need. he makes the offense go. He plays the right way. He gets everybody involved, and he's a dog on the defensive end of the floor. I mean, 5 steals for a single player in one game. I mean, that is, that's what you want to see, out of your guard. So, I'm anxious. I am anxious to see these guys, line up and start playing some of these teams in the SEC. I know the SEC is not what it was last year. That was absolutely historic. They go on the road, play a South Carolina team that seems pretty down, but, I think they're going to be undefeated on January 7th when they got the Crimson Tide rolling into town. And that is going to be an electric environment in Memorial Coliseum. Memorial Magic is back.
Yeah, absolutely. Really, really nice statement win for Vandy, and they keep it rolling there as one of the final teams undefeated in college basketball at 12-0. And I would venture to say it's going to get to 13-0 because their next game is against a team called New Haven on Monday the 29th. So I think they're going to extend that to 13-0 after the holiday break. Hey, there's another team that's a very sneaky disappointment that we need to touch on. We'll do that when we get back. Field of 68 After Dark.
As you know by now, we have teamed up with BetMGM again this season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we will have special offers for Field of 68 fans, including same-game parlays, best-in-class live betting, and daily odds boost. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD to get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. You download the BetMGM app. You sign up using bonus code FIELD. You deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use that bonus code FIELD when you sign up. Make this college basketball season one for the history books. Make it legendary. And don't forget, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD and get your $1,500 first bet offer today. If you're not a member of the Field of 68's On3 community, make sure to go check us out. Get access to all of Jeff Goodman and Rob Doster's written content, including coaching carousel breakdowns, info on who is and isn't entering the transfer portal, insider recruiting information from none other than Joe Tipton, X's and O's analysis of all the teams in college basketball, and access to our message board community. A 7-day trial costs you $1. The Field of 68 On3. Get the scoop.
Welcome back. Field of 68 After Dark here on a Sunday, December 21st edition of the show. John Martin, Justin Jackson, Matt McCall here with you tonight. A couple more games today that we need to hit on. NC State keeps it rolling with a double-digit win over Ole Miss, 76-62 today for the Wolfpack. Matt, we'll go to you on just these Wolfpack under a first-year coach there, Will Wade. It's been, up and down, but mostly good, I would say, for NC State. What do you make of them, 12, 13 games into the season?
Well, I think he challenged his team, coming out of the last game, and I think his team responded. There was some, talk about toughness. There was some talk about, we have a lot of nice guys. We don't have any killers. We got guys that, get 3.0 GPAs, but, we're trying to win basketball games too. And they went out there and responded. They defended at a high level to hold this Ole Miss team to 62 points. And I know we're going to touch on them here in a second. They're not where Chris Beard expects them to be, but I think NC State on the offensive end of the floor, playing the game the right way, was important as well. They have 20 assists tonight. The ball was hopping. It was changing sides of the floor. They played unselfish and they played the right way. But, anytime you can hold a team in the low 60s or low 50s, that shows you're guarding, you're defending at a high level. And he challenged his team. He called them out. He said, we're a bunch of nice guys, right? But basically saying we're not here to win science projects. We're here to win football games. Isn't that the line from The Program? What a great football movie. When's the last time somebody showed up to watch a chemistry experiment, right? That's what he was calling his team out. And they responded by holding Ole Miss to 62 points. Great movie.
Yeah. But I will say I don't think those two things are mutually exclusive. Like you can be a good basketball player and be very smart. Like the best
100%.
basketball
Yeah,
players are the smartest
are smart.
in the end.
Yes.
In the
Mhm.
end, I mean,
He
so I
just
would
wants to
take a
make sure
little
his
bit of
stats are
issue
low.
with his GPA. I would actually prefer that my best players have a high GPA. But look, I'll say this, Justin, and I don't know. I know it's NC State there, but they're top 25 in offense. They're top 45 in defense. I mean, not a given, in your first year, but it definitely looks like he's Will Wade's guy to go on the right track here.
Yeah, I mean they've got some pieces. I mean, this was with, arguably their best player, Williams. He finished with 1 point, 0 for 8 from the field. So, I mean, you play that type of game, hold a team to 62 points, albeit some of the circumstances. But kind of to what we were talking about with Vandy and Nickel, like McNeil Jr. came off a game. He had 47 points the game before this, like 11 threes. He set a ACC or tied a ACC record in threes, and then proceeds to get up 12 more threes in this game, and make 6 of them. So I mean, they've got Copeland is somebody that will do all the little things and guard the best player, do all of the things that you don't ever see necessarily. He had a great game today in the box score, but you don't necessarily see it in the box score most of the time. You've got Vin Allen Lubin there, so they've got some pieces, and in the ACC that is much better this year than it was last year. They could still, I think I see them right behind Duke and North Carolina. So very good basketball team. Just not necessarily a great test today for them going against this Ole Miss team.
Yeah, but to your point, I mean that's a really good development for the ACC that they're in a healthier place, because that league's kind of having a renaissance here. There's no question about it. Matt, what was your minimum GPA when you were recruiting? Would you go after the 1.7 guys? Was it just like I can fix him kind of thing?
Yeah, kid who can put the ball through the back. Recruited Justin, but he wanted to go put that baby blue on. He didn't want to put the royal blue on. Okay, but he was a good student and a very, very good player. I'm saying he spurned me twice, Justin. Right? Like he didn't come to Florida in recruiting, and then I was a head coach at Chattanooga, and him and his teammate Joel Berry. Joel Berry dives for a ball in front of our bench, picks the ball up, and starts yelling in my face. I'm like, Joel, I tried to get you to come to Florida too. Why are you mad at me? They just would have hang 95 on us in the Dean Dome, but that's okay.
Yeah, I was about to say, do you remember what the score was? You remember what the score was of that game? Or are we going to keep that off air?
We beat Tennessee the first game of the season, and then you guys 40-pieced us the second game. 40-piece. Joel Berry's talking trash to me the whole game. I can't wait to play him golf. I cannot wait to get him on the golf course.
That's savage, man.
I'm taking it to him. But
the other side of this. Yeah, I don't want to go down any hard, like who remembers like that, right? Like only 95, like who would possibly remember the score? But I do want to get your thoughts on the Ole Miss side of this, because look, they have a big budget there. They're an SEC basketball school. We know that the NIL is certainly there. They have money in that program, but pretty much top to bottom, brand new roster, a lot of new guys. And I think you can sort of look around college basketball, and if that's your reality, where it doesn't really matter how much money you have. If you're starting to go with an entirely new group, you're probably going through it right now. And Ole Miss seems to be going through it.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question about it. Yeah. I mean, the frustration level that Chris Beard has, you can see it in his press conferences. You can see it with, the way he's talking about benching guys and certain players. I mean, 3 of his starters tonight only played 15 minutes, and they went for a combined 1 point in those 15 minutes, each of them. So it's just, there is a lot of frustration boiling for Coach. And this is one of those times where it's like, okay, Christmas break, and I would assume that he let his players go home for Christmas break, but it's like hit reset. Like we're not where we need to be. We need to hit reset. I also think, and I'm not trying to throw anybody on a bus or kill individual players, but when you go into the portal, how many schools has a certain player been to? And what did he do at those schools? You know, like AJ Storr is a super talented player. Like, he's got all the ability in the world. St. John's doesn't go to the NCAA tournament when he's there. Wisconsin goes to the NIT when he's there. Kansas was up and down when he's there. Now he's at Ole Miss. It's like, okay, like sometimes there needs to be like, look myself in the mirror, like, hey man, like maybe I'm part of the problem. Like maybe I need to get better. Maybe I need to get in the gym. Maybe I need to improve. Maybe I need to be a better teammate. I don't know him. Never met him in my entire life. I think I interviewed him one time for SiriusXM, but like I'm only using him as an example. It's like when you go into the portal and a guy's on his fourth school and the previous stops haven't seemed to have gone well, it just could be a red flag there. Like there could be a red flag. Maybe just not the right fit at those places. Maybe not the right fit at this current place. And he's the only one I'm talking about just because I know of his background because of how talented he is. But that's the problem with the transfer portal. It's like doing all your homework, all your research, and what has gone wrong maybe at previous stops to where maybe this guy's not the right fit for us right now trying to win a championship.
Yeah, I it's tough because I look at Ole Miss and, we look at a team like Kentucky who, they've obviously everybody talks about the price tag of that roster and how things just don't really seem like they fit. Like Ole Miss, I just don't necessarily know if they've got great players. And so I think that's a different situation than great players that just don't fit together. I'll tell you one thing. 12 games into the season, it's never a good look for you to be. I mean, they're basically 3 of their starters didn't play more than 2 minutes in that second half against NC State today. They were the guys cheering for the guys who basically don't play any minutes, which to Beard's, to him, I'll say I actually respect that a lot because what they were doing on the floor in those 15 minutes was as if they weren't even on the floor. But if that's basically who you're going to have to be putting your money in to go into SEC play, things might get a little rocky. And then something too that I was just thinking about, like you're also talking about an Ole Miss, like, school and programs, athletic program that just went through a whole coaching change with Lane Kiffin going to LSU. And so the echoes and the whispers are getting a whole lot louder over there when it comes to this. And you have this kind of outing. Obviously, Dia had a good game. He was really him and Perry were the only two that were really still out there giving everything they had. Trying, giving some sort of effort. But I mean, it's tough because you haven't even hit conference play, and you put up a dud like this. It's going to get interesting over there for Ole Miss.
Yeah, it's hard to I think come down too hard on Ole Miss historically, Matt, as you know, because they've only been to 2 Sweet 16s, and one of them was last year under Chris Beard. So I want to keep it all in perspective, but I do think that when it is Chris Beard and when you do have a budget like they have, and I'm sure they would tell you, well, we don't have as big a budget as that school. We don't have, and everybody will say that. Nobody has any money, according to the coaches. Everybody's got more than them. Nobody wants to just say, yeah, I'm rich, bitch. What you going to do about it? Nobody wants to do that. See, I would do that. But that's why I'm sitting here and I'm not coaching. But I'm saying all that, Matt, to say I think Ole Miss, you have to kind of count as a sneaky disappointment this year, again, just because of the bar and what we expect from Chris Beard teams historically.
Yeah, I mean, the guy has won wherever he's been. It doesn't even matter, go back to even when he was at Arkansas Little Rock. I don't have his junior college coaching record in front of me, but I'm sure that was outstanding as well. He created these expectations and went out there and took some high-level transfers. So, but again, you just don't know how the pieces are going to fit, right? Like, Elliot Cadeau leaving North Carolina and going to Michigan. At the time, you're like, okay, like, is this piece going to fit? Is this the right move? Carolina, a little up and down when he was there. Well, guess what? He's on, you could say, the number 1 team in the country right now, and a huge piece of it. and the system and the style, and you bring in Yaxel and you bring in, these transfers, like those pieces fit. Sometimes you do that and they don't fit. And you get a chance, you get an opportunity to hit reset. The SEC is not what it was last year. He's a terrific, outstanding basketball coach. He's got a chance here coming out of Christmas break. Like, all right, man, hit reset. Okay, like you three guys that only played 15 minutes in the last game, you got an opportunity to earn a starting spot, but you're going to earn it in practice on December 26th or December 27th, whenever they come back. Like, no, there's no starters anymore based on the performance of not even showing up, down in Raleigh. Like, there's no, like, earn it back in practice. So, chance to hit reset, opportunity to win some games in the league, and Chris Beard's an outstanding coach.
Yep, they certainly got some talent down there to do it. Okay, a couple other things we need to hit here from today's action. This was sort of a weird one. No solo ball tonight for UConn. Silas Demery left the game in the middle of the game. I don't know if he got sick or what happened, but it was a road one on the road at DePaul, and in conference these can always be tricky. But UConn, as a 13-point favorite, goes in there and absolutely handles business, 72-54, Justin, just to start conference play, on the road at a place like DePaul, where historically maybe you're coming in like, they ain't really about it. You handle business like that. What does that say about UConn and the kind of caliber team they are?
Look, I feel like I get on here every single time and I'm talking about UConn. But man, I freaking love UConn. Like you go into this game once again without Solo Ball, who just came off of a huge game for them, and you've got Caravan scoring, who last game didn't really score for you. Now you've got Demery with 13, 8, and 7, right? Like you've got Reed on the inside. You've got Mullins only had 8, but I guess I can't really say it yet, but he seems to be kind of the guy they go to down the stretch. I mean, he had 2 big shots towards the end to kind of really extend the lead. And you've got everybody else coming off the bench, and Ross and Stewart started tonight. Like, there's just so much with this UConn Husky team for me that I just love, right? And then you throw everything that is ran on the floor with Hurley as the coach and misdirections and all this sort of stuff. But yeah, you go into an environment in DePaul and you take care of business and you move on. That's kind of what the attitudes seem like with this UConn Huskies team tonight.
Yeah, Matt, we were talking, it feels like the team that we're not talking about enough in the national conversation is UConn. I mean, everybody, maybe it's the new and shiny thing because we're just used to UConn winning and they're just always in there by default. But it seems like, we hear more about Michigan, we hear more about Arizona, and this UConn team, man, it's just like a locomotive. It just keeps chugging. Like, here they are again.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter who's on the floor, right? They're just coming at you in waves. Like, they're coming out, oh, no solo ball. Don't worry, Silas Demery's going to step up. Oh, no Reed tonight. He's out. Oh, don't worry, we got Ryba coming in. Like, it's, Malachi Smith has shown at times this year that he looks like the best backup point guard in the entire country. Like, there's so much depth, and they just come at you and beat you. It almost felt – now I want to give Chris Holtman and DePaul some credit because DePaul used to be – you never did this as a head coach, or maybe sometimes, but you'd look at your conference schedule as an assistant and you'd be like, okay, yep, circle that one. We're going to win that one. Mm-hmm. Okay, like DePaul was always circled as a win. That is no longer the case with Chris Holtman. I thought they came out, they had the right mentality, they were tough, they were physical in the beginning of the game, and all of a sudden it was like this button that UConn hit, said, okay, we're going to start playing now, and they just put it into a different gear. And then you got you can't come back from it. It's like an avalanche that you can't stop. And it comes from everywhere. Caravan was the guy tonight. Solo Ball was the guy last game. Braylon Mullins looks like a lottery pick out there. Every time it leaves his hand, I think it's going in. Like Ryba coming off the bench, Reed on the inside, Ross with the highlight dunks, Malachi Smith. It's just there's so much depth. You want to talk about a team that when they sub, there's no drop off, and they have their coach's mentality. They play with that toughness. They play so hard. I've been saying it now for a few weeks, I mean, they're my pick to win the national championship. I think they win 3 out of the last 4. I love Michigan as well, but they're so deep. And here's my only concern for UConn. I don't know how much they're going to get pushed in the Big East. I just don't know. I mean, I think Seton Hall is obviously, you got to start talking about them more. St. John's with the point guard play, they've got some Creighton looks like they're turning the corner a little bit. Georgetown with everything that's going on in that program is Butler possibly, but who's gonna push this team? Like, are they gonna go through some adversity in league play? I don't know.
No. There you go. I mean, no, they're not. But that's not their fault. I mean, it's not their fault that there's only
no
2 teams in the top 30. From the Big East. It's not their fault. So I guess it's 3 if you count Villanova there at 28. But it's not their fault, man. It's not their fault at all. All right, we have a lot more to get to. Yesterday's action, absolutely action-packed. Justin was there in Atlanta for the fumble Ruski from his Tar Heels that went for the win. We'll get into that and a lot more. Field of 68 after dark.
As you know by now, we have teamed up with BetMGM again this season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we will have special offers for Field of 68 fans, including same-game parlays, best-in-class live betting, and daily odds boost. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD to get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. You download the BetMGM app, you sign up using bonus code FIELD, you deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use that bonus code FIELD when you sign up. Make this college basketball season one for the history books. Make it legendary. And don't forget, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD and get your $1,500 first bet offer today.
Are you trying to follow everything happening in college basketball? It can be overwhelming. That's where the Field of 68 Daily comes into play. The Daily is your go-to source for recruiting news, game analysis, portal updates, and much, much more. For just $50 a year, you get access to the same information that your favorite coaching staff is subscribed to. Quality content can be hard to find in the college basketball space. The Daily is here to help. Make sure you subscribe today.
Welcome back, Field of 68 After Dark here on a Sunday, December 21st edition of the show. John Martin, Justin Jackson, Matt McCall here with you for about 15 more minutes, and then we'll head over to the afters. Kentucky, Justin, I want to come to you on that one because I know you were down in Atlanta for the Classic there, and that was the first game of the day. Kentucky down at the half, and I sort of made this point yesterday. This is the second night of a back-to-back for me. We're going to have to think about my minutes here moving forward, but so far I'm giving everything I got. But it just felt like that first half was more of the same. Like, this Kentucky team is flat. That's right. That's the generation, man. The generation in 2025. But that first half was just more of the same. And then Lowe comes out for the second half, and Quainton's minutes go up. And it was just like a completely flipped game in that second half with those two. What did you see from Kentucky and their win against St. John's, just being there in person?
Yeah, I mean, to your point, like that first half, sitting there, to St. John's credit, that first half, like Kentucky, it felt like Kentucky was like couldn't breathe offensively. Like in the half court, St. John's was like suffocating them. But then you come out the second half, and obviously, Coach, I know you said you recruited me in the Houston Hoops. Jalen Lowe is the son of Marlon Lowe, who was the head coach of the Hoops. So shout out to them, man. But he came out and like when I say just the dynamic of their offense changed immediately. Like first half in the half court, Kentucky could not score. Like there was no sign of like, oh, they got a good look and just missed it. Like there was just nothing going. And he came on the floor and it was immediately, okay, now guys are getting shots. He's able to attack the basket. The spacing somehow was totally different. And And then you throw in the fact that Quaintance came out there, and he's just the fact that he is basically like a baby deer when it comes to basketball, when it comes to like what he's reached at this point and the type of effect that he had as far as protecting the rim. I mean, it felt like he got every offensive rebound when he was on the floor. If he's anywhere around the rim, you're not going to be able to contest anything he's putting back up. So, man, this Kentucky team, they don't really have any legitimate shooters in my mind, which is going to hurt them eventually. But in an SEC where it's get up and down with their physicality with Quaintance on the floor, I think they're going to start surprising some people as SEC play starts, just from that standpoint. So obviously, hopefully Jalen Lowe can stay healthy and that shoulder stays right where it's supposed to be. Because if it is, I think this team, I think they get a whole lot better as this season goes on.
Coach?
He is – I said it going into the season. He's one of my favorite players to watch play the game. When he was at Pittsburgh, he had to do so much, Jalen Lowe, out there on the floor to even give Pittsburgh an opportunity, a chance to win some basketball games. And he did it. You put him in ball screens. He makes the right play. He throws on time, on target passes. He's unselfish. He can score off the bounce when he gets in the lane. He can hit runners. He can just do so many different things out there on the basketball floor. He changes their team. When you think about it, and I'm not trying to knock Denzel Aberdeen by any means, Denzel Aberdeen was a part of a national championship at the University of Florida as a backup. If you have Jalen Lowe out there, then Aberdeen, maybe you play them two together, or maybe he now becomes the quote-unquote backup. I don't know. That's for Mark Pope to figure out. That's why I'm here talking with you guys on this side of it. I don't have to make those decisions right now. But he was a backup, and he was a really, really good backup. But if you were expecting him to be one of the best guards in the SEC, I think that's difficult. Jalen Lowe has proven, based on what he has done throughout his college career, he can be the lead guard. And now he's got better pieces around him. And you take him and Quaintance off the floor. Rick Pitino said it best after the game. It's hard to win because those two guys are terrific. I mean, some of the offensive rebounds that Quaintance was getting and going back, I was like, the guy's getting ready to eat the rim. Like he was just attacking the rim with a vengeance. And to Justin's point, he's a gazelle. When he's running the floor in transition and he's getting out and he can get ahead of the defense and Jalen Lowe is flipping it up to him, you just, again, you hope that shoulder, you hope it can stay healthy because he changes their team. Quaintance obviously changes it in the front court. He changes it in the back court because he can do so many different things, and he's difficult to cover because he can make runners in the lane. He can make threes. He sets his team. I mean, the way he flips it around too, I mean, he's fun to watch. I mean, I want to see him out there because he's so much fun to watch.
Yep. Justin, I want to come back to you on one last question on Kentucky here on Quaintance, because again, you were there. You always wonder, what's it going to be like when an NBA guy like that, an NBA prospect like that, a talent like that gets incorporated after a long layoff. But just watching from where I was at, it felt like that Kentucky team was like, big dog, we're clearing the way, man. Welcome back. We need you. We need you to be that guy. Did it sort of feel like that, being there in person?
Oh, yeah. I mean, and as hard as it is to admit, like the Kentucky fan base, that was a home game for them in Atlanta. And so anytime he came in, like the first half, it felt like he was doing like 2-minute spurts, which rightfully so, like new stuff you don't ever want to mess with. But anytime he came on the floor, it got extremely loud. And then once they started making that run in the second half, and he had a couple putback dunks, a couple blocks and things like that, to your point, it was like this team has been waiting for him to come back on the floor. And so, and also with the type of player he is, he's not somebody that needs 15 post-ups. He's not somebody that like is demanding the ball, So as far as him getting right into the flow with this team, I mean, him coming back with Jalen Lowe, I think was the perfect scenario for this Kentucky team, because now you've got somebody that can set him up and he's not having to make something happen on his own.
You know who benefited most from those two guys being out there? The preseason player of the year in the SEC, Otega Owe. Like, he just looked different. Like, there has been times this season where he has looked completely disinterested. And I don't think it's disinterested because I think he's a high character guy. I think it's almost maybe fatigue, maybe feeling like the weight of the world's on the shoulders with the expectations of being the SEC player of the year. He's not living up to those expectations. Kentucky's not playing well. He didn't look right. And now he's got those two guys. It's almost like he was the one that was high-fiving them up. Thank you. Man, thank you for you two being back in the lineup, because I need you guys out here to help me. And he goes out there, and it just alleviates some of the pressure. Now, he took 17 shots, so he took a lot of shots. He made 6 of them, but he goes 8 for 9 from the free throw line. He has 20 points. He looked different than maybe at times this season when that Kentucky team was struggling. And you look at the look in his face, he didn't have that killer instinct, that killer look. He had it yesterday. He looked like the preseason player of the year in the SEC.
Absolutely. The other guy that benefited by those two being out there was Mark Pope, the coach.
Mark Pope.
Who needed that?
The three-piece.
Like air. He needed those guys out there like air, brother. Okay. One more to hit here before we head over to the afters. I can't believe that I'm saying the sentence, but the Texas Tech victory over Duke. I'm still trying to process, Justin, how this happened. Because, there's a moment, I don't remember what the time and score was, but just symbolically, Cam Boozer rips a rebound away from JT Toppin in that second half. And I'm like, all right, that's what kind of time we're on tonight. Like, this is just going to be a Duke win. They're going to keep rolling, and Texas Tech's top heavy, and they'll be fine ultimately, but this is going to be a Duke win. And Christian Anderson was having none of that. Said this is not going to just be a Duke win. This is going to be a Texas Tech win, and somehow they find a way. How did Texas Tech do this, Justin?
They had the best player on the floor, which is crazy to say as well, with the fact that Cam Boozer was on the floor. Like, Christian Anderson, in my mind, like in that second half, was like when we talk about, the best point guards in the country, like in that second half, when I walked away from it, I was like, I mean, his name has to at least be thrown in the hat, at least. Because that's obviously JT Toppin. He does what he does. He gets to that left hook. I mean, heck, he hit a turnaround fader with the shot clock running down. But you know what he's going to do at all times. But Christian Anderson, he hit some shots down the stretch in that second half that's like only he would have made in that situation, right? And heck, I mean, as I'm watching, I'm like, they've got a guy guarding. Shout out to Nolan Groves, but they've got a guy guarding Cam Boozer that came into the game averaging 7 minutes a game, right? Like 3 players injured, 2, I mean, heck, their top scorer at the time fouled out with 11 minutes left. Like, this, in my mind, was just straight grit. But yeah, I mean, they had the best player on the floor last night. I'm not saying he's the best player compared to Cam Boozer, but last night they had the best player on the floor, and he made the plays that he needed to make to help this team win.
After a tough one, Matt, against Arkansas, I feel like Texas Tech was leading for 70 to 80% of that game. How important is this one for them and their resume and ultimately what they're trying to do come tournament time?
I think it's huge because I still believe, this Duke team can get back to a Final Four. It just felt like when things were starting to shift, up 17, you blink, you take your foot off the gas for 1 second against a team like Texas Tech that has that talent, that has that. There's a reason that we were thinking they're a top 10 team going into the season. You take your foot off the gas for 1 split second. Texas Tech took full advantage of it, like full advantage of it. This is huge for them, and getting that momentum going into Big 12 play, which is going to be a gauntlet. It's going to be, you're going to be in tight games. Winning a close game like this against one of the best teams in the country. Now Grant McCasland can go into a timeout in Big 12 play on the road in Allen Fieldhouse in a one-possession game and tell his players, we've been here before. Like, we've been here before. This was huge. I don't think – it's way bigger – it's a way bigger story that Texas Tech found a way to win this game than Duke losing. Like, Duke's not going to go undefeated. Nobody's going to run the table. It's college basketball.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a bad night. You can have an off night. Cam Boozer can miss a free throw with the game on the line. He's a human being like everybody else. But the story of Texas Tech finding a way to win this game, that was huge, and it's going to give them some momentum going into Big 12 play.
Yeah, on Duke, obviously, Justin, they've already won some high leverage games. They won at Michigan State, which is nobody wins at Michigan State. They've beaten Arkansas. They beat Florida. Is it one of those things where obviously we'd all rather just go undefeated? We'd all rather never lose a game, just win them all and win all 6 in the NCAA tournament. But we know that's not reality. Is this one of those things where like this is going to be a beneficial loss in 6 weeks where you look back on this experience like we were 95% favorites? Let's make sure this shit doesn't happen again to us.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like, you look at this game. I mean, they missed 12 free throws, right? You make half of those and you win the game. Isaiah Evans had 4 points, 1 for 4. I mean, you look at all of that. I mean, besides Cameron Boozer, Caden Boozer was the second leading scorer for this Duke team. So there's a bunch of things that you can look back on if you're Duke, and you can be like, man, those are easy changes that if we make a few of those free throws at certain times, or if we get, a few more buckets here and there, I mean, we win this game by 15-20. But at the same time, like Matt said, like you're not going to go undefeated. The only team that almost did it was the team my freshman year that was the best college team of all time, and that was Kentucky. And they still lost come championship or Final Four. And so you need these kind of games. Obviously, they've won big-time games already. They've already proven that they're capable of going into a big-time matchup and winning. But it definitely says way more about Texas Tech with all the guys fouled out, all the guys injured, all of that. It shows a lot more about this team that they can win a game, not only against a really good team, but like with all of the odds against you. So yeah, I mean, I think I celebrate Texas Tech winning this game more than saying, oh man, Duke, they really sold this one and lost this one.
Yeah, it's going to happen, especially you got young guys, right? I mean, it's still a relatively young team, and there's definitely growing pains. I don't want to say that, you're creating a monster, but I do think this will ultimately be beneficial for them, come tournament time, come deep into ACC play. I mean, you just learn, right? No L's, just lessons if you're doing it right. So I think this is just one of those things for the Blue Devils here. We got a lot more to get to. We're going to head on over to the afters. We need to talk about your Tar Heels, man. I can't believe that was an executive decision by Dagan. So we're going to definitely take that out on him. But we do need to discuss that and maybe Michigan. We didn't get to Michigan today in the main show. So stick with us. We're heading over the afters in just a minute.
These my DJ Burns things I had for us. Taking them into the depths of Alaska and just dropping them off.
The first person that's gonna die gotta be one of the black guys. We're not gonna make it to the end of the movie.
That's like asking somebody, do they want to get a prostate exam or a damn gunshot wound?
This is the afters where Matt McCall takes off the makeup. My hat goes backwards.
Already
and
done.
We're done. Okay. All right. I thought you looked fantastic, by the way, with your makeup.
I appreciate you.
How long is that process?
They make you do it. I don't know, 5 minutes, maybe.
Oh, okay. It's pretty simple. Justin Jackson, Matt McCall, John Martin here with you in the afters. Dagan, what you got for us tonight, dog?
What's going on, fellas? As always, people in the YouTube chat, throw your questions in there, and we'll get to them if we have time. We'll stay with yesterday's games, and obviously, John, you talked about it. We got to talk about the Tar Heels. We got Justin Jackson on. Got to talk North Carolina. He was there. So let's talk about that game.
Justin?
Yeah. I mean, it's we've been saying once Seth Trimble comes back, like this team is a legitimate team in my mind, a top 10 can make a run in the NCAA tournament type of team. I mean, you've got the best 4 or 5 duo in my mind in the entire country, and now you add somebody that, I hate using the word dog. I feel like that word is used way too much nowadays. But it's somebody that really gives you like an aggression side to the team now, to go along with everything else that they've had, so far this season. So last night, I mean, they cut it close. I'm not gonna lie, I got a little nervous there on that 4-point play at the end of the game.
Yeah.
But sometimes
Never
luck
foul a
has to be on
3-point
your
shooter.
side.
Never fell a 3-point shooter.
Yeah.
Well, Mobley kicks
There's
out,
that
though,
coach
every
speak.
damn time. He kicks out, bro. That needs to be policed better than it is. He kicked out on that last attempt, too, man.
I was
I
saying
don't
the
have
same
faith.
thing, man.
Yeah.
Listen, man. And we went to the hat. We got the Grove 23 MJ hat on here, the Carolina blue. So
Mhm.
There
we're
you
gonna talk
go.
about
There you
Carolina.
go.
Might as well throw that on.
Thank you
Hubert
for your
Davis.
brand loyalty.
Yeah, Hubert Davis, man. Hubert Davis. Talk about him. Like, as a coach that's been on the hot seat and going through a season on the hot seat, I don't care what anybody says. That was the noise coming out. What if he doesn't win enough games this year? Oh, my gosh. Is he the right guy? Da, 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 da. You got to hear it. So up and down. Shouldn't even got to the tournament last year. They got one loss. It's to Michigan State. They're finding ways to win games. They found a way to win that game yesterday. That's the most important thing. I think he's doing an outstanding job this season. I think they're going to win a lot of games in the ACC. And that seat, whoever is saying it, probably one of the guys that owns this company, needs to cool off. Like, he needs to cool off because my man's doing a heck of a job.
Shots across the bow here. I thought this was supposed to be the season of warmth and love, and apparently not, man. Apparently not. So, I don't know if the guy that you're even referring to celebrates Christmas. So I think that's the other thing. But it's still the holidays. It's still the holidays anyway. So he should be nicer than he actually is.
I didn't say
No,
any
you didn't.
names.
No, you
I didn't
didn't. No, you certainly didn't. Real quick, while we're on the subject here, though, Justin, Caleb Wilson, man. I mean, I just can't wait from this one. Like, this guy, I can't wait. I can't wait to see him. And I'm going to enjoy him while he's in a UNC uniform because he's obviously really, really good already. But like NBA, that's where my mind goes to, like, how good this dude is going to be in the league.
Man, it's you have all these arguments of who should go number 1, who should be top 5. And I think a lot of times, like with Caleb Wilson, all his dunks and like high flying, all that stuff. I mean, heck, his double doubles, like that's what's always talked about. But he had a move in the second half where it was a simple. I mean, like they ran it until they were sick, but it was a simple post up. He spun baseline, and it was like an up and under floater that majority of like athletes you would never see be able to make. And it was as if he practices it and does it all the time. So yeah, to your point, you add more spacing on the floor. You add guys can't just be in the paint. Now you're just facing up and going against one guy. It's scary kind of where he could go.
Yep.
And heck, he wasn't even the best player for North Carolina yesterday in my mind. Like Henry Vasar was, I mean, he kind of kept the whole entire thing going all the entire game until Caleb really kind of had to put his stamp on it. But yeah, his ceiling is extremely high, if you want to use that term.
Yep. He belongs in that discussion, man, with Darren Peterson and Dibansa and all those guys. There's no question about it in my view. All right, what's going on, Dagan? What we got?
Yeah, fellas. Before we get to the rest of the games from today, we didn't talk about. Question in the chat from Blake. He wants to know which loss in hindsight is most likely going to help a team at the end of the season. Duke blown lead against Tech, Gonzaga blown out against Michigan, Purdue against Iowa State, or Houston and Tennessee.
Matt, do you have all those options? Do you got them all?
Or another one. If you have another one, throw it out there.
I think the Michigan, Gonzaga, and the Purdue Iowa State game, I think those games are very, very similar, and I think the benefit immediately is being shown right now. But I think a game like yesterday where Duke blows a 17-point lead. I think John Shire is going to be able to use that later on in the season. I think Gonzaga and Purdue are benefiting right now from getting punched in the mouth. Like, all right, maybe we're not as good as we thought we were. We need to be humbled a little bit. And they both have responded the right way. John Shire is going to be able to use this situation because there's going to be an ACC game in late February, early March where they're up 17 or they're up 17 in the ACC tournament or they're up 17 in the second round of the NCAA tournament to get to the Sweet 16. He's going, hey, guys, remember that game in the Garden? Like, I don't want to see any pulling off the gas right now. Like, we've got to continue to want to play this game. We've got to continue to – hey, Coach Donovan used to say it all the time when we'd have a lead, like, put more time on the clock. Like, let's keep kicking their ass. Like, that's what we want to do. Like, put more time on the clock. Like, we're not letting off. I think Shire is going to be able to use this down the road.
Justin?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll keep going back to the Gonzaga, Michigan. That's just an awful matchup for Gonzaga. I'll just keep on going back to that. Like, that's just not a good situation for Gonzaga. So, like, from that, you can't necessarily take, like, a ton of things away. Now, Houston and Tennessee game, and now this Duke Texas Tech game. I think obviously the Duke Texas Tech is going to probably help Duke the most out of all these teams. But heck, I mean, you saw Houston against Arkansas. Like, they kind of struggled against a Gillespie with Tennessee. Houston did. And then, heck, Acuff still kind of went crazy. But outside of that, like, Houston kind of responded against an Arkansas team that, is really talented. And I think some of that came from, the physicality that Tennessee put on them whenever they lost to them, and some of the things that, the lapses on defense against the Gillespie and the guys on that Tennessee team. So, yeah, I mean, these games, all of them you can take something from. Obviously, Coach knows a lot about that. But, like, this Duke Texas Tech game, like, I mean, it'll be a 3-hour film session of just like, hey, like, you see right here, like, what could you have done right here, right? Like, that's so, yeah, that Texas Tech game, Duke will be a lot better because of it.
Yep, agree totally. All right, is that it, Dave? Are we going to toasts?
No, I want to do one more game to talk about tonight, guys. It's Cincinnati-Clemson. Obviously, Clemson got out to a big lead today, but Cincinnati was able to pull it back. Obviously, two teams with different trajectories right now. So just kind of your thoughts on that game.
Yeah, for some, it mattered because Clemson closed as a 4-point favorite. Cincinnati gets the cover. Again, matters to some. Would not have guessed that, though, Matt McCall, because it was about to ask for that first half. I mean, everybody's talking about it, man. Wes Miller, is this going to happen in season? I mean, it looks really bad. And to their credit, I mean, they didn't win, but they made it, respectable.
I mean, to score 18 points in the first half, I don't know what Wes Miller said at the half. Like, I mean, but something, I don't know if he threatened his guys. You can't go home for Christmas break. We're going back and we're practicing tomorrow. Like, I don't know what was said, but they played the second half inspired. And even to be able to get back into this game, I mean, 18 points in a half. Like that, like, oof, man, that's for an offensive-minded coach. That I don't know what I would do. I would bring me the bottle of Pepto-Bismol, please. I just, but they responded. Like he said, you're not going home for milk and cookies. We're going to practice tomorrow. Like that's what's going to happen. And they played like they wanted to go on Christmas break in the second half. So.
But that 18-point half did happen, and that's why they have 65 and the winner has 68, right? I mean, credit for the effort.
Clemson clearly, when the Clemson saw the 18 points in the first half, Clemson's player said, we're going on Christmas break. It's
yep.
There's nobody on campus.
They did this against BYU as well.
I haven't seen my family
against BYU and let them come back and win the game there. I mean, this has kind of been a thing. Again, I don't want to be too critical because they won, but it has been a pattern with Clemson.
Yeah, I mean,
But again, a win.
that's what I was going to say. This is the same team that, what was it, 22, 23 points, something like that. BYU came back and won.
Yeah.
Albeit that team is head and shoulders above this Cincinnati team. But I mean, we were watching it, and like that first half, like it was like painful, like especially like to your point, like being an offensive guy, like it's just like why is this on the floor right now? Like that was in my mind, it was like this can't be a Division I college basketball situation right now. But like since he came out in the second half, and it was like they finally went to who they were, like other than Day Thomas knocking down a bunch of threes in the second half, all they did was just get physical on defense, make Clemson turn the ball over, get out in transition, and then use all their length and height to hit the glass. Like that's literally all they did that was different in the first half. And so, I mean, it's one of those things where, another UNC guy. I think this helps going into Christmas break, even though it's a loss. I think if it was going on the trajectory that it was going on after that first half, I think going into Christmas break, it was going to be real spooky over there in Cincinnati.
Yes.
But the fact that they came back and they scored 47 in the second half. And Clemson's not a bad team. Like, they're not a bad basketball team. So I think you can walk away with it with a little more confidence. But yeah, that first half there was a lot of things that I would have been rather doing than watching that first half of basketball.
Yeah, I think Brad Brownell's doing a really solid job there. I mean, he's had a lot of guys, whether it's PJ Hall, Ian Shefflin, like he's lost some, massive players for his program, and they're they've kind of settled into being like a very consistent, 4, 5, 6 seed in the tournament. I mean, I think that's a really good place for Clemson basketball to be. And again, we're talking about the ACC, right? And how it's solidifying here. You got NC State. So, I mean, I think they're just their quality club in the ACC. And I think for them, that's really what you want to be. So credit to them for holding on and getting the win. And again, to Brad Brownell for establishing some consistency. All right, let's get to some toast of the night. Matt, you're up, man. What you got?
Man, I'm going straight Braden Smith. The Gonzaga Braden Smith, not the Purdue Braden Smith. To see him come off the bench, play the floor game that he had in a big win today against the Oregon Ducks. I don't have a water bottle. I really wish I had a Coors Light. I don't have one of those right now. But symbolic, Braden Smith, fist bump. That's why this team's so good. That's why they can get back to the Final Four, is bringing guys like that off the bench and impacting the game.
Justin?
Man, my first show ever with Field of 68, I had a toast that everybody looked at me real weird because it was a toast to a Syracuse team who got demolished a game in Players Era. And tonight I'm going to go with another person that lost, but man, he showed up more than he ever has. Travis Perry for Ole Miss came into the game averaging like 15 minutes a game, 4 points. Today, in a game where obviously it was not very fun, finished with 21, I think 5 of 11 from 3. I mean, we talked about it, was really one of the only guys that really acted like he cared about being out there. So shout out to him, man. I think he earned some minutes going forward. So shout out to Travis Perry.
I like it, man. You are you're searching far and wide, man. I mean, yeah. I respect that. I respect that.
The road less traveled.
Yes,
that's
right.
I
take the obvious one.
No stone unturned for Justin Jackson and Toast tonight, man. I'm telling you. How about the Mastodons, the alma mater of the great John Conchar, the Purdue Fort Wayne Mastodons, going on the road, getting their first road win of the season against Notre Dame. That's just fun, right? I've never been to Fort Wayne, but and I probably never will be visiting Fort Wayne. But I imagine it's probably pretty lit tonight.
That is why coaches fear the bye game before Christmas. That is the perfect example. Coaches fear the bye game before Christmas because of what the Mastodons did to Notre Dame.
Yep, that's right. That's right. Corey Hadnot with 29 tonight. for the Mastodons, 10 of 16 from the field. So shout out to the Mastodons for getting the win. I know that'll be a fun Christmas, no question about it. Hey, happy holidays to you guys. I won't see you before Christmas. I hope you enjoy it with your families. Thanks to everybody for tuning in here with us here on the Field of 68 After Dark. So for Matt McCall, for Justin Jackson, I am John Martin, and we'll see you this week.